In this video, we'll be taking a look at 3 NBA games happening on October 25th, 2024, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 6 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 3 NBA games after fully watching this video. One thing before we start, if you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Brooklyn Nets versus Orlando Magic. The Brooklyn Nets are set to take on the Orlando Magic in an early season matchup between 2 Eastern Conference teams. The Nets began their season with a tough loss on the road against the Atlanta Hawks, falling short in their efforts to secure a win. Brooklyn is coming off a disappointing 32-50 campaign last season, which saw them miss the playoffs for the first time since the 2018-2019 season. On the other hand, the Orlando Magic started their season with an emphatic victory, blowing out the Miami Heat in their opener. The Magic had a solid 47-35 record last season, which earned them the 5th seed in the Eastern Conference. However, despite a strong playoff effort, Orlando fell just short in the first round, losing in 7 games to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Brooklyn will once again be dealing with roster limitations, as key players Bojan Bogdanovic and Trendon Watford are unavailable due to injuries. Meanwhile, the Magic are monitoring the status of forward Jonathan Isaac, who is currently listed as questionable for the game. In their opener against the Hawks, the Nets displayed plenty of grit and determination but struggled to get meaningful contributions from their point guards. If their backcourt fails to deliver again, it could spell trouble against a Magic team that looked sharp in their first outing. Orlando's strong performance in their season opener hints at their potential to cause problems for Brooklyn on both ends of the floor. Although the Magic appear to have the edge in talent and defensive prowess, the betting line might be a bit steep for this early in the season. The Nets, despite being significant underdogs against the Hawks, managed to stay competitive throughout the game and even covered the spread. That makes it difficult to fully count them out in this matchup. While Orlando's defensive discipline is a factor, Brooklyn does possess some offensive weapons that could keep them within striking distance. This game has the potential to be a scrappy, low-scoring affair, so the Brooklyn Nets to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. One bright spot for the Nets is the scoring ability of Cam Thomas, who can fill it up in a hurry. However, Brooklyn still lacks enough playmakers on offense to consistently challenge elite defenses, especially against a Magic squad that ranks among the best defensive units in the NBA. Defensively, the Nets have their own set of issues, but Orlando hasn't exactly been lights out from 3-point range, which could level the playing field. Both teams are also known for their methodical approach to the game. Last season, the Nets ranked 25th in pace of play, while the Magic were right behind them at 26th. With Brooklyn still trying to establish an offensive identity and Orlando leaning on its defense, this matchup seems unlikely to produce a high-scoring affair. Therefore, as both teams are more likely to engage in a grinded-out style game, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Philadelphia 76ers versus Toronto Raptors. On Friday night, the Philadelphia 76ers will meet the Toronto Raptors in search of their first win of the new season. Both teams are coming off disappointing season openers, having suffered blowout losses on their home courts. The Sixers currently boast a 7-game winning streak over the Raptors, but the question is whether they can stretch it to 8. Toronto will aim to turn things around and defend their home floor, but can they do enough to stop Philadelphia's momentum? The 76ers will be without both Joel Embiid and Paul George, while the Raptors are likely adding Emmanuel quickly to the injury report, joining Kelly Olynyk and R.J. Barrett as players dealing with injuries. Philadelphia's season opener ended with a frustrating loss to the Milwaukee Bucks, but they now have a chance to bounce back against a Raptors team that struggled mightily in their first game, losing by 30 points. Despite missing key players, the Sixers remain a resilient group, especially against a Toronto squad still working on building chemistry. There's an odd dynamic surrounding the Sixers at the moment, largely due to Embiid's absence. However, Philadelphia has shown in the past that it can still find ways to win even without its MVP center on the court. On the other hand, Toronto is still a work in progress, with new faces trying to gel together. Expect Philadelphia to dominate in the paint and generate better offensive opportunities as they look for their first win in Game 2 of the season. Although Philadelphia is missing 2 of its stars, Tyrese Maxey remains the standout player in this matchup and should be the best player on the court for either side. Toronto, in contrast, appears too depleted to compete at a high level right now, especially after their blowout loss to start the season. The absence of Barrett and Quickly will limit their scoring options, while their defense, which struggled last season, hasn't shown significant improvement. Toronto's offense is particularly weak inside the paint, and the 76ers have enough defensive presence to stifle the Raptors' perimeter shooting. While injuries have taken a toll on both teams, Philadelphia still has more talent to work with, including Maxey and Kelly Oubre Jr., who looked sharp in the season opener. Meanwhile, the Raptors' lack of depth and limited scoring options only exacerbate their challenges. Backing either team under these circumstances is risky, but Philadelphia seems better positioned to take care of things here. Toronto's thin rotation and poor start make it difficult to imagine them keeping up with the Sixers in this matchup, so the Philadelphia 76ers to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Both teams are missing key players who averaged more than 18.5 points per game last season, and neither team operated at a high pace last year, with both falling below the 100 pace threshold. Their respective season openers further emphasized defensive struggles, as neither club managed to score more than 110 points. Philadelphia had a rough shooting night in their opener, particularly from beyond the three-point line, and the added challenge of traveling for this matchup could make it tough to find their rhythm. Meanwhile, Toronto's offensive issues are well documented. They finished last season ranked 24th in offensive rating and had trouble protecting the ball in their first game. The Raptors' offense, still finding its footing, isn't much of a threat at the moment. When teams like Toronto aim to slow down the tempo, it can be difficult to force them into a faster pace. While the 76ers managed to get plenty of shots off in their last game, their efficiency was lacking. Toronto's younger players are still developing chemistry, and we should anticipate turnovers to be a major issue for them, especially against a Philadelphia defense capable of tightening the screws. Given both teams' struggles and the expectation of a slow tempo, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Indiana Pacers versus New York Knicks. The Indiana Pacers are traveling to New York City on Friday for a matchup against the New York Knicks at the iconic Madison Square Garden. This will be the second game of the regular season for both teams as they look to build early momentum. Indiana is coming off a solid 115-109 road victory over the Detroit Pistons in their season opener. Meanwhile, the Knicks had a rough start to their campaign, suffering a heavy 132-109 defeat on the road against the defending NBA champions, the Boston Celtics. Both teams are eager to build chemistry and find their rhythm in these early stages of the season. New York will be without a couple of important pieces, as both Precious Achiuwa and Mitchell Robinson remain sidelined due to injuries. On the other side, the Pacers are closely monitoring the status of Isaiah Jackson, who is listed as questionable due to a groin strain. Jackson's presence could play a critical role in Indiana's rotation, especially in the front court. In their season opener, the Knicks struggled to keep up with Boston, particularly on the perimeter, as the Celtics hit an impressive 29 three-pointers. By contrast, Indiana had to grind through a tough contest against a struggling Detroit Pistons squad, narrowly securing the win. These two teams are no strangers to each other, having developed a fierce rivalry last year. In the 2022-2023 season, they faced off a total of 10 times. During the regular season, Indiana took 2 out of 3 games from New York. Their rivalry intensified in the Eastern Conference semifinals, where they battled through a grueling 7-game series. The Pacers ultimately emerged victorious, winning the series 4-3. Concluding both the regular season and playoffs, Indiana went 6-4 straight up against the Knicks. From a betting perspective, if you consider a hypothetical spread of +5 points in favor of Indiana, the Pacers would have been 7-3 against the spread, with 2 of their losses coming by exactly 4 points. In this matchup, I'm leaning towards Indiana to cover the spread as underdogs. I don't see a significant gap between these two teams, both of whom sit comfortably in the second tier of the Eastern Conference. While the Knicks have a solid roster, I remain skeptical about their ability to close out games when it matters most. My concern with New York is their lack of a true superstar who can take over down the stretch. Jalen Brunson is a talented player who can score, but I don't believe he fits the mold of a top-tier, game-changing star who can single-handedly swing momentum late in the fourth quarter. Although I expect a stronger effort from the Knicks compared to their performance against Boston, I still think the line favors Indiana. The Pacers have shown they can compete well with the Knicks, and with nearly 2 full possessions worth of cushion on the spread, I like Indiana to cover, so the Indiana Pacers to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. Dating back to last season, 14 of New York's last 19 games have finished over the projected total. Additionally, 10 of the Knicks' last 12 home games have also gone over, although New York only managed to score 109 points in their opener against Boston. They gave up 132, which easily pushed that game over the line. On the other side, Indiana has seen the total go over in 5 of their last 7 games. Last season, the Pacers led the NBA in scoring, averaging an impressive 123 points per game. However, their defense was one of the worst in the league, allowing 120 points per game, ranking 27th overall. Given Indiana's fast-paced style, I expect this game to have plenty of possessions and scoring opportunities. The Pacers were one of the quickest teams in the league last year, averaging 102.2 possessions per game, which ranked second in the NBA. They also boasted one of the most efficient offenses, recording an offensive rating of 120.5. Meanwhile, the Knicks ranked 7th in offensive efficiency last season, putting up 117 points per 100 possessions. Both offenses are capable of generating high scores, and the defensive vulnerabilities on each side further support a high total. Given these factors, I am expecting the scoring to flow freely in this game. Shots should fall for both teams, and I anticipate a high-scoring affair similar to many of their previous meetings. As a result, over the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.